I.S.L.A.M Moors. Pax that to more. It is a beautiful, beautiful day today. It's 60 plus degrees down here, northeast of I.S.L.A.M. I am broadcasting you from the headquarters of the Moorish American Consulate Northeast region. Moors, you have to make an appointment before you come to my home, my domicile, where I dwell. You gotta make appointments. So if you want to come and see me, I have absolutely no mind. I would love to see all of my family. But please call me and let's set up an appointment so I can be prepared. So I can be prepared to welcome you and to see my beautiful, beautiful sea stars and sea suns, right? So please, 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 I beg you, contact me, Sharon Tracy Gale Bay, or my lovely assistant, Robin Bradley Bay, whose phone number I'm not going to give yet because she left the window. She was right outside the window and I was going to ask her, what is your phone number, so I could give it to you. So we can schedule meetings for nationality and consul situations. Because keep in mind, while I love speaking with Moors, I do have agendas and meetings all week. But why did I come here today, Moors? I came here today to talk specifically about Moorish security. Robin, what's your cell phone number? So if you want to come down and do nationality, normally Saturdays at the Havertown Free Library is where we can do the nationality documentation. But if you want to do it before then we have to schedule appointments. And if you want to just come by and say hi, at least let me know you're going to come by and say hi. I.S.L.A.M family. So my assistant, Robin Bradley Bay's phone number is 215-791-9690. 9690. That's 215-9791. What? 215-791. 9690 is the phone number of my assistant, who you can schedule appointments for nationality one-on-ones if you need to have a one-on-one. I am going to do a Facebook Live later on this week to go over completely the judicial proclamation as well as the name declaration for those Moors who need that tutorial. Because if you're coming to see me and you want to do nationality, I am making the assumption, and I'm going to continue to make this assumption, that you've already read the documents and you're just ready to get it done. But if you need documentation, definitely we'll have those documents here for you, as well as can mail them to you, or you can download them from the Moorish American Consulate I.S.L.A.M group on Facebook. So please join the Facebook group. What?
The abandoned park?
No, not right now. Let's we gotta wait till the children get out of the plantations. My children want to go to the park, and I'm like, well,
no,
all
I mean abandoned park.
Why would you want to go to an abandoned park?
Because there's a basketball court.
Give me 5 minutes, okay? This is not going to be a long Facebook Live. I came on to Facebook Live specifically to talk about the Moorish security. First meeting will be tomorrow on free conference call. My free conference call login information is on the announcements of the webpage. My free conference call login and identification is in the group Moorish American Consulate in the I.S.L.A.M Facebook group in the announcements. So go to the announcements for that information for the meeting that is going to be held tomorrow for the establishment of our Moorish Unity Freedom Team Islam for our Moorish security, to secure and protect ourselves on our land, northwest of I.S.L.A.M, Morocco.
Yes, we go.
We're about to not go. But I wanted to specifically speak upon, so please, Moorish sons and Moorish women who want to volunteer for their nation in securing our estate, which is our right, our God-given right to secure against criminals. All those trying to hypothecate what is yours are criminals. even if you see them in the supermarket, even if you're friends with them, with their children do play dates with your children, keep this in mind. They're all in our communities. But we have to really protect one another and protect the nation, which is the American people, which are the Moors. It ain't nobody else. Islam. So I wanted to point out some specific things on the civil orders letter, specific things to give you more support for why we're doing the things that we're doing. And I wanted to speak specifically about one area, because until we get the Grand Army, the Republic, the actual army on the ground protecting the American states, which is us, family, we are going to support and unify and do the things that we need to do to protect one another. So tomorrow's meeting is 5 o'clock Eastern time on free conference call, Sharon Tracy Gale Bay's platform, which information can be found on the announcement page, of Facebook Live, of my Facebook group. Get back here.
He's leaving.
Facebook group, Moorish American Consulate in I.S.L.A.M. You can go upstairs in your room. You can do that. Keep disrespecting me. Sit your butt down right now. Sit down. I don't want to hear nothing. Diddy, sit down. Islam. So the part that I wanted to specifically read was this one. All those estates in all caps, erroneously believed to represent the American states and the American state citizens, and which were conveyed by fraud and legal deceit to the United States of America Minor, and more importantly, the city-states of the United Nations, are revenued without exception to the geographically defined American states and American state citizens, which they shall remain in perpetuity as assets belonging to the right. What am I saying? All legal fiction entities, however structured and named after the American states and American state citizens, are returned to them in their control, free and clear of any debt, promise, encumbrance, or obligation alleged against them as a result of false claims made in their behalf by officers of the United States of America, Incorporated, and the United States, Inc., all caps, or by any foreign officials operating the United States of America Minor or the United Nations city-state falsely claiming to represent them or have jurisdiction over them. I said a lot in that document. I'm going to go back over that and read it a little bit slower, family. All those estates erroneously believed to represent the American states, which are us, which is you, family, and the American state citizens, and which were conveyed by fraud and legal deceit to the United States of America Minor, and more recently the city-state of the United Nations, are revenued without exception to the geographically defined American states and the American state citizens, where they shall remain in perpetuity, meaning forever, as assets belonging to the rightful and lawful beneficiaries. All legal fiction entities, that's counties, that's so-called corporations claiming to be governments, that's so-called tribunals claiming to be courts, that's all of them, however structured and named after the American states and the American state citizens, are returned to them in their control. It's already been returned to us in our control. Free and clear. This is the most important part. Free and clear of any debts, any promises, any encumbrances, or obligations alleged against them as a result of false claims made on their behalf by officers of the United States of America Incorporated and the United States Incorporated, or by any other foreign officers operating the United States of America Minor and the United Nations city-states, falsely claiming to represent them or have jurisdiction over them. We note that the current circumstances is in part as a result of criminal activities engaged in almost 150 years ago, which resulted in the commercial enslavement of Moors branded African Americans who were summarily claimed as chattel property, backing the U.S. government corporation debt in the wake of the Civil War. Instead of freeing the Moors, falsely identified as African Americans, the sum total of the Civil War was to vastly expand the public sector ownership of slaves, giving rise to the outrageous and improper claims that have been made against the American states and the American state citizens that are dealing with. You have to park across the street, family. You can't park right there. You gotta park. What am I saying, family? Should it become necessary to suppress commercial mercenary forces operating under the disguise of being federal government agencies, including but not limited to the Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Emergency Management Administration, the Internal Revenue Service, or the Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco? So what I'm saying is that all of these corporations that are unlawfully identifying themselves as a government are mercenaries and are enacting in criminal activity, and it's up to the Moorish security to secure ourselves and among ourselves. So when people are trying to hypothecate, when people are trying to evict you from homes, when they're trying to evict you from apartments, when they're trying to take you, this is where the Moorish security comes in, and we stop that dead in its tracks at Morocco. So tomorrow at 5 o'clock will be the first meeting where we will come together to get a Moorish security force in place to protect the Moorish American nationals, the only Americans at Morocco. What else did I want to say to you? I wanted to say just a couple other things. The governmental services corporations have always been under commercial contract to provide services to the American people and have acted against their employers as employees. So they've been treating you as employees when you are the employers. That's why you can lean them, family. The governmental services corporation has always been under commercial contract to provide services to the American people and have acted against their employers as employees. It is essential that the members of the Bar Association, another corporation, members of the state governments, other corporations which have been surreptitiously redefined to their detriment, members of the domestic police force and members of the various armed forces again gain a clear understanding. So it is your responsibility to gain a clear understanding as to what really is going on in your real authority or lacking thereof authority. The fact that for purposes of administration of government services on American state soils, the federal government, all lower capitals, is a corporation. The federal government is a corporation with no more civil authority on the land than J.C. Penney or Harley Davidson. The federal government doing business as the United States Incorporated is a French corporation, commercial corporation, and is hereby called to task for non-performance on a contractual obligation. So they were contractually obligated to provide services to the American state citizens, and through their deceit and our lack of nationality and unity, they have been hypothecating and stealing all of the things that belong to the actual American people. Right now is to clarify those misconceptions so people have their due process. This was the due process that the popes of Rome, under the Vatican City, under Pope Francis, has put out there. So anyone continuing to hypothecate and continuing to unlawfully continue to unlawfully detain and steal people's things, well, now you have no excuse. You will be held for all of the fraudulent, treasonous activities that are happening here at Morocco. American Negroes have in the past been considered U.S. citizens because this is the only citizenship they were granted after the Civil War, not realizing that they have a nationality and they never needed the so-called 14th Amendment, which was a policy, internal policy enacted by a corporation that the people thought was a government. Their government that they were under, and that was the ignorance on the part of our people, not realizing that it was a corporation contracted under commercial agreements and contracts to provide services to the American people. For all military and civilian-based defense and law enforcement agencies, the rule to be observed is if you cannot do it as a private citizen, you can't do it as a public officer. Why would you think that you can do something as a public officer you can't do as a private citizen? Why would you even think that you have immunities when you're violating and you're warring against the people? And this is the most important part I want to get to. All those individuals engaged in employment, as federal, state, municipal employees, elected or otherwise, are hereby given notice that they are employees of private for-profit corporations, and they are hereby under contract to provide stipulated public services, having no special status, having no immunities, having no authority as sovereign nations. They don't have any of that. Or states. There's private corporations doing business for profit, claiming to be unlawfully through fraud, deceit, and treason to be a government. Any actions that they are infringing upon the rights and prerogatives of the American state citizens are criminal as without exception and are to be treated as such. These individuals have exactly the same standing as employees of any commercial company. So they're telling you they're a company and they are not a government. They don't have sovereignty. They can't tell you anything. These individuals have exactly the same standing as employees of any other commercial company, and the rules, regulations, codes, and other statutes they enforce are obligations unique to those organizations alone. So those are internal directives that are only applied to those people who do indentured service agreements called employment contracts. Those are the only individuals held to those rules, regulations, and statutes. I said a lot. Rewind this. Download this document and read it. This is why the Moorish security is necessary. This is why we're going to have our meeting tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on free conference call. You can go into the Moorish American Consulate, I.S.L.A.M Facebook group in the announcements to get that information. So you can be on the call so we can support, defend, and protect ourselves, our family, our estates, and we don't abandon any of those things. Islam family? So again, read Posse Comitatus. Posse Comitatus. Posse Comitatus. That's what we're doing. We are establishing, affirming protection of the Moorish American nationals, the Americans, our estate, and our resources and family. So if anybody receives any so-called notices from, again, I will read it, those individuals engaged as federal and state and municipal employees and elected officials are hereby given notice that they are employees of private for-profit corporations, that they are merely under contract to provide stipulated public services, having no special privileges, statuses, having no immunities, having no authority as sovereign nations or states. Any action that they are infringing upon on the rights and prerogatives of American state citizens are criminal acts without exception and are to be treated as criminal acts. Any authority, any actions, any and all actions that they take infringing upon the rights of the people are criminal. So that's why the Moorish security is going to be established, and that's why tomorrow is our first meeting to let these individuals know we ain't playing, the Moors ain't playing. We are going to do what needs to be done to protect ourselves, to protect our property, to protect our estates, and to protect one another. So the same demonstration that you showed for the Moorish American Consulate northeast of Maxim, I want to be showed all over Morocco. I want our people protected. But Moors, you got to do your due diligence and get on a damn grid. And you know what I'm talking about? If you don't know what I'm talking about, ask a person, what's she talking about when she talk about that damn grid? What is a damn grid? What's she talking about, this Moorish American National Grid? It is a grid to be downloaded again from the Moorish American Consulate Northeast and Maxim Facebook group. All the files are there for your liberation. All you have to do is sit your butt down 5 minutes enough to get liberated. Again, tomorrow we have a meeting at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, free conference call. The login information is on my Facebook group, Moorish American Consulate in Maxim. Download that information, be on the group, but more importantly, be on the grid. And stop having your colonized moments, because that's all they are. When you don't know what to do, you're having a colonized moment. Just realize what's going to get you out of that colonized moment you having. Going and reading the binder for newly nationalized Moors, which is also in the file section of the Facebook group. I'm sending you there until I can send you to an email that's going to have it all laid out from start to finish, and that's in production. And Moors, bring your skills and your abilities to your nation. Bring it here. You've been utilizing your strengths and abilities through colonization. Use it for the rebuilding and establishment of the Moroccan Empire. That is web design. That is security detail. That is martial arts. That is administrative functions and processes. That is mechanics to fix conveyances. That is a multitude of different things. Islam. So I'll see you tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, free conference call. If you want to come to my domicile for nationality, you have to schedule an appointment. Please do not do flybys. At least give me the respect to contact me and to call me and let me know if I'm available, because I do, like I say, have meetings all week, all throughout the week. And I do want to be there for my family, because nationality is the order of the day, and I don't act as if that's second to anything. But know exactly what you're doing before you actually get to that point where you in front of me talking about what is this word on this document. Don't come to me asking me, well, what does this word mean? Well, why don't you know what it means? I know what it means. I'm not going to tell you what it means. That means you got to go take the documents home and go read them. Pax Up to More family. See you tomorrow. And yes, for those who are coming, we do have our meeting tonight at 7, council commissioning. Same place, same station. Free conference call. Go to the announcement section, and if you want to schedule an appointment for nationality and you don't want to wait till Saturday, you have to schedule an appointment with my assistant, Robin Bradley Bay. Don't overwhelm her with 1,000 questions. And I did post her contact information earlier today. Islam family, peace and love. He can start today. Well, put him on the call with the rest of the Moors tomorrow for the Moorish security, because I know there's a couple of Moors that's been getting attacked by these I'll read it again. Those individuals engaged as and employed as federal and state municipal employees and elected officials are hereby given notice that they are employees of private for-profit corporations that are merely under contract to provide stipulated public services, having no special status, having no immunities, and having no authority as sovereign nations or states. Any actions they are infringing or taking upon of the American state citizens are criminal as without exception and are to be treated as such. He just told you what to do, right? He said they are criminal acts without exception and are to be treated as criminal acts. So what do you do when somebody's trying to smack you in the face? What do you do when somebody's trying to kick you out of your home? What do you do when somebody tries to pull your child out of your care? What do you do when somebody tells you you can't eat? What do? Do you just sit there and be like, okay, take my child, take my home, take my food? No, you gonna kick they motherfucking ass off your goddamn property. That is what this is telling you to do when it says any actions that they infringe upon on the rights and prerogatives of American state citizens are criminal acts without exception and are to be treated as such. The only reasons why they've been peacefully taking and violating us is because we've been willfully submitting ourselves to a jurisdiction that they never had. And that's on us. And we correcting that here today. I wanted to say the revenue part one more time, because I gotta, I do things in threes, because I know it just takes one little word to resonate with individuals when it talked about revenue, when it says revenue, and then I'll close after that one sentence. all those estates and states erroneously believed to represent the American states and American state citizens, and which were conveyed by fraud and legal deceit to the United States of America Minor, and more recently to the city-state of the United Nations, are revenued without exception to the geographically defined American states and the American state citizens, where they shall remain in perpetuity as assets belonging to the rightful and lawful beneficiaries. All legal fiction entities, however constructed and named after the American states and American state citizens, are returned to them in their control, free and clear of any debt, promise, encumbrance, or obligations alleged against them as a result of false claims made in their behalf by officers of the United States of America Incorporated, or the United States Incorporated, or by any foreign officials operating the United States of America Minor, or the United Nations state falsely claiming to represent them or having any jurisdiction over them. You want me to make it plain? What it says is that you owe no debts. The debts are theirs. You owe nothing to them. You owe nothing to them but due diligence, letting them know, yes, this is Sharon Tracy Gale, Moorish American National. I do not abandon my state. I do not waive my rights. I do not acquiesce my position. I am a Moorish American National. You have no status. You have no claims because of the lack of status that you have. Now get off of my land, or I'm not going to say these things. Islam family, Pax Tamor. Peace and love. Nationality is the order of the day. What's in your wallet? My consort says I joke too much, but if you ain't laughing, you're crying. And I don't want to cry, I want to laugh. Because that's more energy, right? Pax Tamor. Peace and love. Dias in bonum. Grazie.